everyone, welcome to the channel for new battle report. We play another training round against Ottenbach, who is the team that finished second at the French qualifier from last year. They also played some ETC in the past, so definitely a very strong team. And this was again 8 against 8, so again a good way for us to try out our meta, try out some new lists and stuff. And I was paired against Vertigo, who is the well-known player in France because he plays usually aggressive list, attacking style, and gets often a lot of points in tournaments. So very interesting test for me to play against his Warrior of the Dark God, which is his usual army. So this was my list. I think in regard to the last couple of battle report, what I changed was the addition of the blunderbuss small unit in core. I played in the past a bigger unit of 30 great weapon blunderbuss. This time I wanted to try out a smaller one and only one unit of levies and one unit of shaker slave. I wanted to have that composition in core just to try them out. I kept the Lugar with the icon of Ashuruk, 3 anointed paired weapon, Bastion, the Vassal Cavalry, and the Kadim Titan walking Earthquake. My opponent was playing the following list, so he plays basically 4 monsters. So we changed list after the pairing process because we had the update. So he plays something slightly different. At the beginning, he was only playing the 2 Feldrak Elder as monsters, which was for me totally okay, rather slightly positive matchup. I had the feeling with the change for 4 monsters, it's slightly more dangerous for me because you have 4 monsters, and as you can see, I have a lot of infantry unit. So definitely they could do a lot of damage with all those storms. But as you can see, he's playing 2 Wasteland Behemoths to try them out. He had one was an Adept Alchemy, and the second one was a Doomlord with the Gauntlet and Touch of Greatness paired weapon. He had a big Mage Occultism as well, same as me, but he has Veil Walker, so he gets a reroll to wound, which is really strong. Then he had 13 horsemen, 8 horsemen, 8 horsemen, so mainly there to score, and also can be useful in some combat. 2 Piece of Chaff, the 2 Elders that I mentioned already, and a big unit of Warrior Knights, so 4 scoring unit, all of them very mobile. We played all the targets, and below you have the spell selection for both of us. And as you can see, he picked both all the spells that are really good against the Kadim Titan, especially. Those 2 also really good against my Overlord. So yeah, he has some threatening spell. He has also the Seal Spike that is quite threatening for my single model. So he has some stuff to deal with my single model that can be more annoying for him, which I think make a lot of sense. Matchup analysis. So yeah, it's an aggressive list around 4 monsters mainly, and very good range damage. So I know that the main threat here is to get rush at and to get combo charged by monsters basically. I think getting the first turn will be a key role here to limit his aggression and have a chance to get some board control and be closer to the secondary objective. Secondary wise, I felt he has an advantage on that. Definitely because he will be attacking, so he will get into the map. And it will not be easy for me to be close to those tokens, especially if I play second. Try to play for both points. It's a training. I want to see if I'm able or not to play for 2. I have 5 scoring units, so I could be able to do it. But also one thing that you need to keep in mind, if somebody is going to attack you, I think one of the key element is not to get attacked in a corner and basically you're forced to defend and kind of castling, and he just knows where to push basically with a single point in the map where he can really focus his aggression, strike hard, and that's it. I think here the fact that we have 2 points is also an opportunity for me to divert his aggression and propose something on another part of the map to make sure that I don't have to deal with everything at the same time, which is the main risk, because if he gets everything at the same time in close combat, that could be too much for me. And the opposite is also true, meaning if it's one thing after the other that I have to deal with in close combat, I should win. For example, the Lugars in 1-1 battle against those monsters are well equipped to deal with them, so stuff like that could happen. The Kadim Titan is also with an Alchemy Attribute can deal with any of those monsters as well. So definitely I have some good answers, but I need to make sure that it goes according to my plan and my way of engaging the combat and not his. Yeah, game plan, get down one monster after the other, avoid getting combo charger. I think here my use of chaff will also be key, and if I don't start, I need to be very aware of what he might do with these flayers that will column chaff me. And basically I need to make sure that my chaff is not blocked behind those guys, but is available to chaff outside of this area and be able to counter chaff him and not get in combat too soon. Estimation, unstable matchup, I think also depending a bit on the roll for first turn, but definitely close to an equal. Deployment wise, so I won the roll for side, which was very good news for me. He gave me the house and placed his flag in front of the house, which makes a lot of sense. I placed mine 24 away. I think here the option of placing it here and playing in this small part of the map with all my footprint was not really an option, because I would get cornered. Like I said before, I mean, you can easily place the 4 monsters in a line and get in close combat very quickly. So I think to get them close due to bubbles is important, but at the same time offer him something on the right and something more on the left is also important, because it's playing on 2 different areas of the map, and I think it's quite key. So that's what I did. I remember about the first couple of drops. My first one where obviously I elected to start to deploy. I dropped the first column of fast scav. I really wanted to establish quickly a strong left flank and to be able to push towards the right and basically have quickly identify that I wanted 2 scoring units close to the house that would be able to contest it at what point of the other and win it safely on the left. That was basically my game plan for winning secondary. So as I identify quickly that it's important that I'm strong in the flank that I identify as my strong flank, and therefore I place here the column to make sure that I push him back. So that was the first idea. He plays his fast cav in the same similar fashion on here on the right, and then I place my Lugar to push him further back on the left. And the rest I don't remember what he placed after that, but I drop after the third mandatory drop. So I placed Overlord on the left, the Lugars, my fast cav, that Vanguard here, the Bastion was behind with BSB and Mage. Then we have here the Blunderbuss, a small block, the Slaves, the unit of Vassal Levies, the unit of Torque Anointed, and the Kalim Titan on the far right. I felt it could be really annoying because the Titan could win a fight in 1-1 way. It's not so easy to deal with. I can move to the side. Can be quite annoying. I can redeploy, can do plenty of stuff. So I felt this could be quite interesting for me to deploy here the Kalim Titan. Another option would have been to switch the Overlord and the Titan. Would also have been fine. I think both were a decent choice. Here I elected to go for that. Yeah, I think both choices were definitely fine. His counter deployment, he plays the Mage facing the Titan. Yeah, it's his main counter, so the Mage plus the Barbarians facing the Titan. Then he has here his Doomlord on the Wasteland Behemoth, the Sorcerer, the Dogs, Flayers. He has 3 scoring units, 2 Horsemen, 1 unit of the Knights of Greed, and the 2 Feldarkelder on the far left. Let's move on to my turn 1. So I push on the left flank like I told you I wanted to do. Just gave him very long charge for the Elder, but nothing crazy to mention. And here on the right flank, I quickly realized that the Titan moving sideways is not going to end up well, because he can easily move his Mage out, either move out of arc or even in arc. He can just be 18 away from me and cast very good spells and leave me with 11 charge, or if he wants no charge at all and he can still get Hereditary, Mark for Doom and stuff like that, and I'm going to be in trouble, or he can boost the range of Grave Cold. So he can do plenty of stuff and he's going to kill me in 2 turns most likely. So I felt it's not worth it. Let's be patient. I use the Titan to move behind the house, and in 2 turns I'm going to be back here, and then turn 3. At turn 2 already I can be looking in the right direction. So I felt, why not? It takes a bit of time, but it's basically also nullifies a bit, neutralize a bit his magic. So I felt that's nice. And by leaving only the anointed on the right, it's still annoying for him. Meaning either he keeps the mage and start to cast spell at them, but not the most interesting targets. But if he leaves them alone, he cannot take that fight. Most likely it's too risky for the secondary here on the right. So he need to keep most likely a monster to help those guys beating me. And that's a lot of point invested for a small unit. So that was my thought process here. Basically move the Titan back to reinforce the left flank to make them stronger. And then make it even harder for him to go here while he has to consider those guys. So it's kind of adjustment to his counter deployment. In the magic phase, he dispel hereditary on the Feldrock Elder. So obviously he minimizes what I can do with magic and shooting, and basically move out of magic range for Gravecall. So I know Gravecall, I failed the breast weapon on 3 dice. He dispel mark for doom, so nothing crazy. I only got a rot within on his greed cavalry on turn 1. And shooting, I failed the bow shot from the small guys. I wanted to put as soon as possible some token, flammable token on them to not have to reroll to wound with the Onyx Cross rank 6 on those Feldrock Elder if I want to engage later on. Let's move on to his turn 1. Obviously he pushes, so he chaff me with the dogs, places his Doomlord ready to hit me in case I'm stupid enough to charge, move those guys a bit forward. He pushes hard with the mage. I left voluntarily here an open spot where he could push. As you can see, it's an interesting spot because at the moment the Kadim Titan is not placed here. I have nothing looking on the right, so he's outside of my brick, so only chaff looking at him. But I felt it's a trap. Why? Because I can easily chaff him. I have 2 chaff pieces ready to chaff. Then I can prepare counter charge. And mostly I can, then he's in range of all those blunderbuss. So he's going to be chaffed, shoot at, and with a counter charge ready. So nothing crazy to eat other than 100 points unit. And he's going to be in danger of getting shot at. And as you can see, the rest of the unit are still a bit far away from me because they don't want to risk to get charged by those units. Meaning I have 1 juicy target, but the rest is not pressuring me at the moment. So that's totally a configuration where I'm feeling totally fine because I can deal with 1 monster after the other like I wanted. So as you can see from the top, he just shuffles a bit around but didn't push too hard. He respected the charge range of most units. Didn't want to engage too soon on this left flank. In his magic phase, got Mark for Doom on the Bastion, did 2 wounds. I dispelled the Silver Spike on the flank of the Bastion, and he got Rot Within on the Bastion. My turn 2, I elected to chaff with the Vassals because I could be within 6 inch of the token here while being outside of the Doomlord. I elected not to charge here and move back, which leaves him with a double 6 charge with his Doomlord. We'll see what he does. Other than that, yeah, you see all the movement here. He had no pro account, so that's why you see all those movement indication on my turns screenshot. Anyway, so I turn around with those blunderbuss and reform to shoot this guy, and I had only a line of sight for magic, but I think I couldn't shoot him. I was like too far and not in the right arc. I had like line of sight here. I don't know. I think I could do magic but not shooting. But it's hard to tell, to be honest. Is that 12 or not? Maybe I could have even shot him with those guys. Can be. I'm not sure about those guys, but definitely I had the other blunderbuss and the magic, that's sure. Move a bit here forward, leaving him with a charge on the 9 and 8 and 9 Swift Ride with a counter charge of the Overlord. Thinking most likely he makes 1. If he makes 1, I will hit him with the Lugars easily. I can shut down the fire and then strike strength 6. Should be fine in 2 turns. I have a counter charge from the Overlord. Even if he gets both, he's not going to break my steadfast, going to do a lot of damage, but I'm going to be steadfast and counter charge no matter what. So I don't see here a big risk for me. And here, yeah, I place Kadim Titan. I made 1 mistake, is the orientation of the Titan. I didn't take into account what could happen in this combat. I could be steadfast. I was within 6 to give the leadership here, and I think within BSB as well. Yeah, to not get terror check. That's something I made sure, but yeah, I could have just angled the Titan a bit more to the left to be sure that if he kills some, yeah, if it's steadfast, he can just reform in front, so I cannot charge no matter what. So that doesn't matter. But if I elected to flee to make sure that I could have, I could easily jump over the Titan and then I can like move around and charge, or because here there are some worlds where he charge me, I flee, end up in front of the Titan, he restrain, and then the Titan cannot charge. So I could have made, I think, a better move to make sure that Titan has higher chances of charging. I think basically that's what I want to tell. Yeah, that's it for my movement. In the magic phase, he binding scroll the Grave Call. I get, because he didn't want that against his big monster. Breath Weapon did 1 wound to his mage on the Behemoth. I failed Hereditary on 2 dice. I got Mark for Doom on 4 dice against 5, so I was a bit lucky. But I roll a 1 to wound the mage on the Behemoth, so I didn't do anything. And then I think all the blunder combined, I think that's, yeah, that's between the Bastion and those guys. I managed to do a total of 3 wounds to his Sorcerer. So I managed to do a total of 4 wounds between magic and shooting, which is definitely not bad. Those guys hit the Feldrock Elder, so they didn't move this turn, so I was hitting on 5+, and I managed to put a token on him, and that's the end of my turn. His turn. He elected to charge here my vassal, so I stand. He elected to charge as well with the Doomlord on 6/6 on those guys. They elected to hold. They passed the terror check, which was obviously a 9 non-rollable, but I failed. I think here he basically lost a turn with that move, so I was a bit surprised of that. So I was quite happy that he attempted that, even if I had the small risk of losing the fear check, the terror check, obviously. He chaffed me again, push a bit forward here. Basically, the longer he's occupied with this strong piece and all those points for a small unit of Anointed, the better I feel, because this guy is half dead. I have some plan to get rid of him. And the left flank is at the moment under control. I have a lot of strengths on the left flank, so we will see how that goes. But I'm rather happy that this guy is not pushing me too much at the moment. He's able to place 1 and 2 scoring unit close to this point to win it, and I'm going to have 1 and 2 on the left one, so I'm winning the left one, is winning the right one, which is a draw. And this turn he elected to chaff. He attempted 2 charges on the left, which I felt was a big risk. Those 2 charges on 8 and 9. Luckily for him, he didn't make any of those. Would have been potentially interesting to make both, or rather unlikely. But if he makes only 1, it's a big disaster. Even if he make both, like I said, I would have been steadfast, and I can countercharge with the Overlord. So I'm not so sure it's great for him, to be honest. So yeah, he didn't make any of those, which I think is rather good for him. He chaffed me with the Flayers, and that's more or less it. In the magic phase, I dispel Mark for Doom, so he jumped again with the mage, who is right now in this position, and was able to get Mark for Doom on my Overlord. I dispelled Mark for Doom. He managed to get Gravecall on the Overlord, but Strength 5, did 0 wound. He got Rot Within on 1 dice on my Bastion again, and the close combat, I elected to flee voluntarily, so I didn't use the leadership and so on. I elected to flee with those vassals, didn't want to get stuck in combat. He passes his restraint check. Would have been nice if he had to pursue and potentially catch me. I hope that I would jump over, but the distance is just too big and I don't have a good way to move around. So basically I get here stuck, close the middle. My turn 3, I charge a chaff. I use my fast cav. You don't see it here because I think I duplicate the unit, but I was able to chaff the 2 Feldrock Elder, which is quite nice. Then push with the Overlord to the flank. Turn around with Bastion and the Blunder to make another shooting phase at those guys. Still have 2 scoring units close to this point. Now I rally those guys, reposition the Titan to be ready to move in between if I need to, and those guys reform 1 wide to hide behind the chaff so he cannot charge me. In the magic phase, I got the Breath Weapon, did 1 wound to his big guy, I guess. He dispelled Mark for Doom. I got Rot Within on the Cavalry again. and the Bastion ended up killing his Wasteland Behemoth. So I got rid of one monster, which is good news. Yeah, 2 rounds of a lot of blunderbuss shooting was way too much. I killed the Chaff with the Lugas and reform, and that's it. He's turn 3, he charged the Chaff. I passes the terror check, and here he passes the march check to move around and pressure me in the back with those guys. And he was able to do something that I clearly anticipating reading his list on this secondary objective, which is making column and getting the scoring by playing second. I knew that was a risk. So he's able to place 2 kind of arrow of Barbara and Horseman close to this point, and basically getting a tie 2-2 scoring unit, while he has 1 here and I have nothing to contest this one. I think his Doomlord failed the march check and he moved forward by using the house to make himself unchargeable by the Titan while he can look in the right direction, which is quite interesting. He chaffed me in the back and has those guys ready to charge me and those guys ready here to charge as well. In the magic phase, I Binding Scroll Mark for Doom. He failed Hereditary on the Lugas due to my magical resistance, and the same goes for Gravecall. And then close combat, I flee with those guys. Again, voluntary, didn't use the leadership. I think he killed only 2, and I elected not to use the leadership because I don't want to stick. And I fled, he restrained, and I fled all the way here. But the Chaff is alive, which is fortunate for me. My turn 4, I was able to charge his Feldrak Elder. I have 2 incendiary tokens, so I was feeling well. And no matter what happened, I can reform in a way that those guys cannot charge me. So I get 3 combat phase, which should be enough to get rid of the Feldrak Elder. Here I had a couple of decisions to make. It's basically, how do I get rid of those guys? A couple of concern here. So the first idea that I had was obviously, and that's the one I decided to do, was to charge with the blunderbuss here, because it's a flank. Overrun here would be not acceptable for him because I would fight on his turn and then get a free pivot. So it forces this unit to flee, and then I can kill this one, so I get rid of both. So that's the solution I take. The other solution to get those guys free to push towards the right, maybe to get towards this secondary objective, because that's the main struggle for me, is how I'm going to get a scoring unit close to this one. So that's the main problem that I have. Then what can I do? I cannot really charge with the Lugas, because if he flees, then I might have to charge and be completely out of position, and then charge in a bad spot by some other units, like the Feldrak threat. How do I then block the Feldrak from charging the Bastion? I mean, that's a huge issue. I needed the Lugas to block the Feldrak Elder. So I couldn't charge with the Lugas, and then charging with the Bastion is obviously an idea. But again, if he flees, maybe I would have been a bit out of position. And then not charging, I didn't like that, because it's 2 scoring units sitting on the objective. This one is close as well. And I'm not so sure to kill all 8 with shooting and magic. So I felt, let's take the charge to get rid of both. So I charge the first one, flee, redirect, charge the second one in a position where I can reform this unit, cannot see me. That was fine. I used Vassal Levies to chaff the Wasteland Behemoth. I'm within BSB and General, so it's going to be 9 rollable. And I place Galim Titan ready to counter charge. So even if he does nothing, I can charge him, or he need to hide. So I like that. Here I think I made the mistakes, because the Doomlord looked the other way around. I should have charged and accepted the combat, because we are turn 4. I'm not going to be close to the secondary, and even if I kill turn 5, maybe turn 6 I can be on it, but that's going to be harsh. So I think here the right decision would have been to kill the dogs, take those points, then reform and take the charge, and let's see how that goes. I mean, I'm striking first, he has the fear check to make. You never know, if I roll really well with the paired weapon and he loses that fight, that's very annoying for him, because then I can go for this secondary objective. So I think that should have been an opportunity to take for me. Anyway, what else? Turn around with the Bastion to shoot at this Feldrak Elder, turn around those guys to chaff the Feldrak Elder, the Overlord charge here, and that's it. In the magic phase, I got big hereditary to help the overlord, so he hits me on 5s, I hit him on 2s, both are hatred on the first round of combat. I got Mark for Doom 1 wound only on Feldrock Elder, so not great, those Mark for Doom this game. Got an attribute of alchemy on the cavalry. The Bastion shooting 20 shots managed to do only 1 wound to the Feldrock Elder. And then close combat, here I kill everybody except 2, they fled a restrain. I think they fled in front. No, not in front of the cavalry. I think they fled further here in the back. This combat was disappointing for me. I put the stat here. So that's the Onyx score. Basically, I'm on 2 up, rerollable, and then I'm on 4 up, no reroll. He has a 5 up armor save, and then D3 wounds. So it's very dicey. As you can see, a lot of different outcome possible. Unfortunately for me, I did 0 wounds. He also did 0 wounds to me. So he ended up losing by a charge on the flank, but he's steadfast. He passes the steadfast check and reformed to face me, and that was it. His turn 4. Okay, as you can see, not really what we expected here. 2 things that were unexpected. First one, the Doomlord charging the Vassal Levies. They fail the terror check on 9 rollable and flee. He had the charge on the flank of the Bastion on a 6 Swift Stride, which he fails. Okay. What is really funny here to mention is that I check with the Kadim Titan that in case I would fail this terror check, I would still see with the Titan the Doomlord, no matter how he reforms in the flank of the Bastion. So I was even ready for that outcome to happen because I think I can still potentially be steadfast and have a counter charge of the Titan. But yeah, so unlucky this, lucky this that he doesn't charge me. And since he got that charge here, he told that he elected as well to charge me with the cavalry on I don't remember how much was that charge. Yeah, not that far. I stand and shoot, kill 3 guys. But now he's alone with the cavalry against my Bastion. And now I'm feeling fine. He passes the march check with Feldrock Elder to chaff those guys and avoid the counter charge in the flank. Well done from him. Here we're stuck in combat. Those guys kept fleeing and will go off the board. Those guys rallied. Those guys stay here close to the secondary. And here chaff me again. Like I said, a missed opportunity here. In the magic phase, I dispel hereditary, I think in the close combat. He got Rot Within against on the Bastion, which I don't care too much. And close combat, the Overlord, it's again a magnificent 0 to 0 wounds. So nothing happened. And then the Bastion combat, I elected to do 1 wound. I will put for you all the stats because I think it's interesting. That's what he did. Between the knights, like horse and the mage, he managed to roll pretty average. I felt 5 wounds. And on my part, I roll, I mean, kind of okay, a bit slightly maybe below average, but yeah, still totally fine. I managed to do 1 wound. He lost by 1, so it's a check on 8 rollable, which he passed. So that's fine for him. And on the right here, we have a bit of a discussion at the beginning of my turn. I asked him, because I didn't face his model Doomlord on the Wasteland Behemoth. It's quite unusual. I asked him what he's doing, and he tells me it's a 12 attack, divine attack. The item also works. I ask him and he tells me, yeah, the item is, I don't know how he did explain that, but like it's beer model, so that's why it works also on the mount. So everything is divine. It's 12 attack, strength 6, divine. And I was like, 12 attack, strength 6, divine. It might be too much, and it might be like 1 chance, I don't know, like 25% chance of killing me. But if it doesn't go well for the Titan, he gets a free pivot, charge a Bastion, end of the game. So I was like, am I ready to risk that? No. So all my plan to put the Titan as a counter charger is now not working actually, because I don't feel confident anymore to charge. The problem being is we realize after the game by discussing with a friend playing Dwarves, the Dark God, that actually doesn't work on the mount. So it's not really the same, and definitely my intention would have been to charge. I think even with the divination, the divine attack, I made the stat also with divine attack. I should still be winning, so I should have still taken that charge, but without the divine, I would have taken it. And here you see the stats. So if I charge with the Titan, so first of all, it's charge a flank, a big flank, so it's +3 on static res. That's the stat for the Titan. With the attribute of alchemy, he already used the binding scroll, so I'm going to get 1 spell and get reroll to wound most likely, which is, as you can see, an average of like 4 to 5 wounds, where he should do like 3 wounds on average. So I should be winning by 4 or 5. So it's a difficult check for him to pass. Most likely he could break and I can win this right flank. So yeah, it's a bit a pity because it's like, I don't think he did that on purpose, but it's very annoying, obviously, because it's a very, very good charge for me and I didn't take it. And as you can see, after this point, I will start to do some mistakes that are not so usual for me. We will see that. Okay, let's go. So here I charge a chaff finally because I realize it's now or never, but like I said, it's 1 turn too late. I use the chaff to chaff the Doomlord because still in my mind I cannot fight this Doomlord, so I might as well chaff him again. And I place the fast cav that rallied last turn behind here, which is also a very stupid idea because the fast cav will be blocking me later on. But I felt like, okay, I chaff him this turn and next turn I can chaff him again, and that's it. I placed the Titan. I was sure that he was on the hill, so I placed the Titan to have a straight line, counter charge here. I failed the mark check, but I wanted to charge in this combat. So I was telling him that, not realizing that actually he's just behind the hill and I don't see him. So that's really stupid. Rallied those guys. Here I pushed with the Lugas to look here. Those guys, they made like a strange reform, but I saw that charge, but didn't chaff it. Okay, and here we're still in combat. He had to reform to avoid the charge of the Lugas, so he reformed to the flank. In the magic phase, I cast a big hereditary, I think helping this combat again. Got a mark for doom, did 2 wounds on this guy, so he's almost dead. And by shooting with them, I killed 2 cavalry models. I think so. And here this close combat, this time he fluffed. And I did not too bad. I didn't do much, but he just fluffed. And due to my static rest, he lost by 5. So it's a 4 rerollable. And he passed that check, which is huge, obviously. This combat, I killed those dogs. Some of them fled in front of the cavalry, chaffing him. I elected not to pursue, thinking I can maybe contest then secondary on last turn. Here I did some good wounds on the Feldrak Elder, but he stick on the Steadfast. So yeah, that leadership role is huge because I cannot reform, I cannot do good stuff. And now he has a charge 8 on Swift Ride. I don't know why I didn't find a better reform with those guys that were looking that way. I don't know if I could have, but I should have been blocking the straight line to charge in my flank here directly. I should have been able to block that. Also, I could have been reforming the Bastion a bit more to the left to try to crush attack his mage. So stuff like that I didn't do too well. He's turn 5. Yeah, obviously get the charge on 8 Swift Ride in my flank. Like I said, not only I'm not able to charge here the straight line because he's behind the hill, but also due to those guys that are looking that way, I cannot, even if he kills some, I cannot wheel and charge here those guys. So yeah, huge brain farts. As you can see, here he has only 1 wound left, here 2 wounds left, so he chaffed my Lugar to not get counter charge. Those guys are stupidly looking at nothing. Those guys just move away and he brings back the Doomlord to just stop me from getting secondary. So he's going to, at the moment he's winning it because it's again, here I have 3 scorings, so winning this one, but he wins this one every turn. The dogs still continue to flee and yeah, those guys fled off the board. In the magic phase, he got hereditary in the close combat was, I think this spell? No, hereditary in the close combat, 4 dice against 4, kill some guys here. He got Rot Within on 1 dice on something. And yeah, it was the card number 1. 4 dice hereditary on the card number 1. So Not afraid of taking risks, definitely. And the close combat, the Bastion was steadfast. I didn't do much. He did some wounds, but I was steadfast, so I stick. But yeah, he did some good damage, and I don't have any counter charge, and that's a huge issue. I fluffed this combat because that was my hope for getting a counter charge. It's just doing the damn last wound with this Overlord. I took the great weapon. I tried to finish the last wound to just get a pivot, and on my turn, boom in the back. But it's not happening. Not happening. Okay, so here, charge with the Lugars. He was still in combat. Those guys cannot charge because they are not in the flank. They are in the back, and they cannot contact because I'm just a bit too long with the ranks. So the Titan cannot charge because it's just behind the hill. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. I move away with the fast cav. Couldn't counter charge as well because they were looking the bad way. Plenty of bad decision, definitely. Here I chaff the fast cav, the cav. Those guys move away, but again, should have been moving away differently. Here I cannot flee. I cannot really fail that charge. Could have moved different way to make a flee possible. To move maybe that way to then flee and save half points. Or not smart move as well. Like I said, from the start, from the turn 5, I made plenty of strange bad decisions. Maybe I was a bit tired, I don't know, but yeah, a bit frustrated maybe, I don't know, but plenty of wrong choices here. In the magic phase, got the breast weapon on my mage very luckily, so that was my lucky moment. As you can see, I have only a couple of blunderbuss left, like 5 guys, the BSB and the mage. So now my bet was to 4 dice the breast weapon against his 5 dice. And I got that off, which was really nice. So meaning my caster can breast weapon the Barbarian Horseman in the flank and potentially save me the day. Let's move on to close combat. I will save a bit of suspense. The Overlord kills the Feldwar Elder finally with a great weapon. The Lugars finish off the Feldwar Elder as well. And this close combat, yeah, breast weapon. I killed those guys between the breast weapon and the mage attack and the seat. So this cavalry is dead, which is a lot of combat rest for me. Did some wounds in the front. He couldn't do that much because I don't have so many guys left. Meaning he lost combat by 4 this time, which is a 5 rollable that he didn't pass. He fled. I elected to pursue, but I didn't catch him. So, okay, yeah, definitely those situations where it's like, could have been worse, could have been better. He fled that way, ended up somewhere here. And on his turn 6, he just rallies, get a grave call, kill my Overlord, which is nice. This guy get the charge, kill those guys. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So it ended up being a 10-10. Yeah, I gave away a lot of points at the end. I think I could have been playing better. We did also kind of quickly the magic phase at the end. We had to backtrack something, but maybe I could have also done better with the dissipation of the last round. I don't remember exactly what happened, but yeah, losing the Overlord was a lot of points. The Anointed could have definitely done better. I got some good points of him. I didn't get the Sorcerer. Yeah, that's the Sorcerer on the Behemoth, that's why, yeah. The 2 Elders, the Dogs, the Flayers, and the Horsemen. Yeah, making a 10-10 because he won the secondary. I was never able to win the one on the right. Post-game analysis, a lot of things to say. Very interesting game, I have to say. Happy to start, but really hard to get to his target due to the house. Secondary, and also the dynamic of the game of him attacking me. Secondary always felt hard to win, like I said. Turn 2, War of Dargod. I think it was a bad idea from him to charge a Feldwar Elder into the Lugars. If most likely one makes it, and if one makes it, it's a dead Feldwar Elder. Turn 4. Turning point in the control, and I felt until turn 4 really in control of the game. I was dealing with one threat after the other. I was chaffing the Doomlord, preparing the Scaling Titan counter charge. Everything was ready for a win. I was in control of the game, I felt. But after my chaff fled, luckily for me, he failed that charge, which was also a key moment. But then after that, I started to make multiple mistakes. Like I wrote here, brain fart on the Kadim Titan. I would have charged a Doomlord, like I said, first of all, if I knew the correct profile of him. So I could have also checked that potentially. But yeah, no harm done. I think it's only a training game, but would have been nice to try out this combat. And yeah, brain fart with the Titan to thinking that I had the line of sight without having it. Could have avoided the flank charge with my Infernal Warrior, the flank charge of the Barbarian Horseman. And yeah, the turn where the knight fluffed, I think it was a very important leadership check for him, because if his knight flee one turn before, I think it was on my turn. So he could have rallied, but then I have multiple units that can threaten him, and mostly I have the Bastion that can reform, turn around, turn away towards the Doomlord and push in the right direction potentially. So it was a huge check. The 4 rollable was pretty important. Turn 6 Infernal Dwarves, that was my turn to have luck, the lucky spell that saved the Bastion. I had better solution with the Anointed, like I said. And yeah, I felt I struggled with my Onyx Core AP2 to kill the Feldrock Elder. Obviously, not getting reroll to wound is also important because of his unburnt rule. But I made really a long time to kill this guy. It was way too long. I would have hoped just one turn sooner would have been perfect to be able to turn around, charge the cavalry in the back. That would have been really, really nice, but didn't happen. And BSB had a really low output in the close combat, something that can maybe improve with the build of the BSB. Guys, that's all for this long battle report. It was an interesting battle, a lot of things to say. I hope you liked this lively game with a lot of action, and talk to you soon on the channel for other games. Bye bye.